What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of A Gentle Reminder with me, Ashley Escobar. I wanted to insert a trigger warning to those who are tuning in, whether that be through listening to the podcast or watching the podcast on the YouTube channel, that in this video and in this episode, I'm going to be discussing some very sensitive topics. Those in relation to suicide ideation, those in relation to self-harm, and just mental health struggles in general. And I did just want to take the time to inform you guys that if you are not at a place in your life right now where you are able to handle listening to my story and what I've been going through, and if you are easily triggered and you're sensitive to these sorts of topics, please be aware that that is what this episode will be about, and just be gentle with yourselves. I will not take it personally if you decide to sit out on this episode. I completely understand. At the end of the day, I want you guys to take care of yourselves and do what you need to do to protect your peace and your well-being. Aside from that, if you do go on to listen to this week's episode, you are going to learn that I have been a bit MIA because I've been traveling a lot and just kind of dealing with my own stuff, but also because my dad surprised me with a puppy a few weeks ago. So I did want to take the time to introduce you guys to my puppy Milo. He is now 9 weeks old. His mother is a Shih Tzu and his dad is a Yorkie mixed with Maltese. I believe that's how you say it. And he's right here. If you guys want to say hello. He's eating the grass, being a little menace. But this is my baby Milo. He is my little sweetheart who is currently teething and just being a bit of a handful, as puppies are. But we love him so much, and he has made such a great addition into this family. He's currently teething, if you can't tell, so he's just biting everything in his sight. We are currently trying to teach him that biting is not playing, but as you can see, he is not doing too hot in learning that lesson just yet. But this is my buddy Milo, and I hope you guys will see more of him as I continue on with posting these videos and posting these podcasts. All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you so much for tuning in. I love you guys so much, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for supporting me. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. I love you guys, and talk to you soon. So July and August were really just months of traveling. It was nearing the end of summer in July, like mid-July. I had gone to Puerto Rico with a bunch of people around my age, and it was an amazing experience. But after getting back from that, I just kind of fell off of my normal routine. Like, I just wasn't hitting the gym as consistently. I was working a lot because it's summer, and I knew like I had the semester coming up that I needed to pay for. And then August was also a very busy month because I turned 21, and my mom had surprised us with taking my sisters and I and her on a trip to Cabo. And it was kind of like our last hurrah for the summer because my younger sister Valerie, as many of you know, started her freshman year at UMass Amherst. So it was kind of just our last time, just a girls' trip for mom and all her daughters to be together and just kind of cherish these last couple of weeks that we had as a family. And at the end of August, I started school. For those of you that do not know, I am a senior at the University of Connecticut, and shortly into the end of August, my younger sister Valerie left for school, and that was a big change for all of us, especially because she is just simply a ray of sunshine in our lives, and it's been taking a lot of getting used to her presence not being here anymore, and like her being away at school and doing her own thing. So I feel like the end of August into now has really just been a lot of change and a lot of going through the motions. And on top of all of that as well, a week or so ago, my dad came home with a puppy for me. So I've just been kind of running around, so dealing with my younger sister being gone, and for those of you that know, my younger sister and I have always been very, very close. So it's been really hard not having her here. She's just my best friend, but I know this is an important next journey for her, a next chapter in her life to experience and grow and be independent. But I'm selfish, and just as her sister, I just wish she had stayed home and done school with me at UConn. But I'm proud of her for taking this step, and trying it out. And she's killing it. She got 100 on her first calc exam. Like, I feel like I talk about my younger sister Valerie like I birthed her, because I'm just so proud of the kid. I love her so much. What else has happened? I have had a really, really rough time adjusting to school. It didn't start out the way that I wanted it to. And I think that's because I'm just such like a sentimental, kind of nostalgic individual. And when the school year started, I remember telling my best friend Liv, like I don't know, like I'm just not excited. Like, I am coming off of probably one of the best summers of my entire life. I have never been more grateful to have traveled as much as I have, to have just hung out with my friends as much as I have, to have meet new people, experience new things. Like, I honestly am so blessed to have had the summer that I did. And I think I had a really, really hard time letting go of that, to go back into this routine of school 5 days a week, commuting to school, just the heavy loads of homework just because it's the last year and I'm doing research. There's things that I need to finish for the honors program. I've been in the middle of applying for PA schools. Like, it was just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other. And I felt like I was drowning. And on top of all of that, my mental health wasn't doing well whatsoever either. And I honestly feel kind of embarrassed, but given the fact that it's September, and as many of you know, it's Suicide Awareness Month, I thought it would kind of just be beneficial more for me to sit down and share my story of my struggles. And I just hope and pray that someone out there who decides to tune into this podcast, or even comes across this video on YouTube, finds some comfort in knowing that they're not alone. I have always felt different. I don't know how exactly to explain it, but I feel like if you're someone that struggles and just, is kind of really in tune with their emotions, like, you may be able to relate to what I mean by that statement. Like, I just feel like I look at the people around me, society around me, people my age, and I just feel different. Like, I just feel like I've never fit in anywhere. Like, I've never really found my group of people. And turning 21, I think, kind of triggered everything as well. Because it was like, okay, Ash, you're 21 now. Like, you're really, really officially an adult. Like, I really didn't care about being legal age for drinking. Like, I'm not into any of that stuff, really. But I felt like turning 21 just kind of triggered this stress and all of these emotions in me, because I just felt like I'm not doing enough. And as a child of two immigrants who struggled
very, very much struggles with their mental health. It's so hard to want to speak out and ask for help. And I feel like over the last few years, I've done everything that I can. Like, I feel like I do everything that society tells you, you should try if you are struggling. For example, like people always recommend therapy. I've been in therapy for nearly 4 years now. People recommend that a combination of therapy and medications also help. I've been on medications before. And I feel like I really just grew this frustration with myself, because it was like you're doing everything, like you're doing all the things that society says you should do to get help and to improve your mental health. So why are you still not feeling better? Like, why was I still not happy? And I'm sorry, it's just like so hard to talk about, but I think it's important to talk about because that's kind of where all my issues stem. Like, I don't talk about things and I just let it build up and build up until I explode and I just, go through this burnout. I wanted to take my life this month. I really did. I had reached a point where I was just so stressed out with life that I was making myself sick. I was vomiting. I had no appetite, and when I did have an appetite or try to eat, and I just was nauseous. If I didn't eat, I was nauseous. I couldn't sleep at night anymore, to the point where I had to, get medications to help me sleep at night, and I just lost all hope and all will to, want to continue. And it made me very, very upset because there's just so much riding on my life. There's just always been these things that I know I'm meant to accomplish, and things that I want to do for my family, for my mom, for my dad. And it was a very difficult month because I just felt so angry with myself. I felt so mad that I couldn't just get over this, that I was just feeling so depressed and I couldn't function, and I just gave up on living. And school on top of it was just not good. I was burning myself out. That's what happens. I push and I push and I try to ignore and I shove my feelings deep down, and I break my limit to a point where I am just completely burnt out. And I just stop living and I stop functioning. And little things like even getting up to use the bathroom or showering or brushing my teeth became so difficult to do. And I know that may sound gross, but it's like when you're going through so much and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, all of that stuff just seems so unimportant, you just, I don't know how else to describe it. I just was in a very, very dark place, and I felt like I had no one to turn to. I was just in a lot of pain, and I felt like no matter what I did, whether it were distractions or, going to school or trying to force myself to go to the gym or whatever it was, I just felt like no matter what I did, the pain just never seemed to want to go away. And I don't know, like, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that, I went as far as to start harming myself. And I have never, ever engaged in self-harm. And it scared me. It really did. And I remember, telling my therapist and speaking to her and telling her that, like, this is bad. Like, this is so bad. Like, I have never, ever expressed or felt an urge to want to just not feel the pain that I was feeling. Like, to relieve that through cutting. I have never, ever experienced that before, and it was so scary. And I know that it is not something at all that I should be ashamed of or embarrassed of, but I feel like a lot of it too ties into just my life at home and how culturally my family, they have a hard time understanding, like, what I could possibly be depressed over or what I could possibly be in so much pain over. And I think, like, over the last few years, like, I really grew to resent my family for that. But I granted my parents from those emotions, because to them, as immigrants, they just want to see their kids healthy. And things like a home and food every day, never having to wonder when your next meal is coming, and a roof over your head, those are things that many Hispanic families tend to hold more value than emotional support. Like, if you have those three basic things, you should be blessed and you should be grateful for the life you have. How dare you feel depressed when you have all those things, like. And I remember I was always told that, there are people out there that have it worse. People out there who are sick, people out there who are living on the streets, who have nowhere to go, have no family, no love, no support. And I think when you hear that a lot, when you grow up in an environment like that, it's very, very, very difficult to want to speak up. And in many ways, I know that is why I struggled in silence for as long as I have, because it's just, you don't want to be that burden. You don't want to be that person that adds stress to your family's plate when, truthfully, we already have so much going on. So this month has been very, very difficult. But that's why I felt like it was very important to sit down and talk about, because I'm sure, like, once this podcast is released and the video is released, there's going to be so many people in my life that are shocked, that aren't going to simply be able to wrap their head around how this has been my reality for the last month, because, I've still been going to school and I've still been showing up for work, and I've been doing the best I can to show up at the gym and do things that I normally would. Like, people have seen me smile, they've seen me laugh. They don't see these moments. They don't see the moments where I'm fighting to hold on to life, where I am sobbing because I just feel so much pain and I can't put into words what that pain is or why I feel the way that I feel. And I want this more to be a video and a podcast about awareness, because pity is the last thing that I want. I know that if God led me into this, He will lead me through it, and back out of it again. I saw that on TikTok, and it's been bringing me so much comfort over this last month. Because it's true. I've been through periods of my life like this before, and I've made it through, and it's just about letting that fire inside of me burn, letting that light inside of me continue to burn, because I know I'm capable of so much. Like, there is still so much that I want to accomplish, but it's hard. If you struggle with mental health, you know, like, it's like you can have all these plans for your future, but when those voices come in, it's just it takes hold of everything. It's hard to see clearly through those moments when you're really struggling. I am no stranger to going through situations like this alone. I very much grew up independently. I kind of just do my own thing, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just in the interest of it being Suicide Awareness Month, I did want to make it known that your feelings are valid, for one. I understand what it feels like to have the sleepless nights. I understand what it feels like to wake up and already just be so depressed that even just getting out of bed feels so difficult. I understand what it feels like to be in the shower and just sob and just cry your eyes out, because sometimes it just feels like nobody ever understands. But the reality of it is that there's so many people that care, and there's so many people that love you, and it's just about really winning the battle against yourself, because I feel like that's what a lot of my situation is. It's about getting out of my own head. It's about, not listening to the bad thoughts and realizing that I have so much room for potential. And also realizing that at the end of the day, I'm just a human, and I don't need to achieve it all right now. If I need 5 years to do what somebody could do in 2, then so be it. And I think that has also been my biggest issue, the comparison game. Wanting to not feel like I'm falling behind, and this month, I've experienced that. My therapist wanted me to be hospitalized, and I refused. If I didn't want to be hospitalized, she wanted me to do an IOP program, to take an academic leave, and it was just all these things. Like, I could not put my life on pause, because I didn't want to feel like I failed. I didn't want to feel like I let this get so much control over me that I couldn't then accomplish the things that I wanted to accomplish. Like, right now, my goal is graduating, and I need to graduate in May. So I didn't want to take time off of school. And I know that may sound really crazy, because it's like, Ashley, you just said all of this, I know. But I have gotten better. I have, thankfully, I am so grateful to have an amazing group of people in my life who continuously support and love me, who continuously listen to the same issues over and over again, and do not make me feel like I'm insane for still feeling upset over certain things, or still mentioning certain things again. I think those are the best people to have in your life, to have at your side, and to surround yourself with. And don't feel like you need to go through it alone. I understand. I really do. I feel like more than anybody else, I really understand the feeling of not wanting to burden other people. But your life is so precious, and I feel like nobody else is going to be able to convince you to want to live life. That's something that needs to come from within. You need to convince yourself that your life is just so beautiful and so filled with so much potential that you give living another chance. And a lot of it, truthfully, is just lying to yourself. You really just have to play a game against your own mind to get out of the darkness that you may be in. But please take it from me that even if you feel like family can't be there for you, there is someone that cares. There is someone that wants you here. There are people that you probably don't even know how much of an impact you've made on their life. There are so many people that probably from afar just admire you, and their lives have been made a million times better because of your presence. You know, there's things that you don't know, and don't take away your presence from this life. Don't take away everything that you could do in this life because you're feeling down. Grant yourself the space to feel, because feeling your emotions is probably one of the most beautiful things you can do. It is painful. I sit here as a testimony that it is so painful. I have gone through some of the most difficult chapters over this last year, and I honestly didn't think I was gonna make it this far. And it's so sad to hear me say, because I look back and I think about all I would have missed out on if I had taken my life this month, or even a few months ago when I wasn't doing too hot either. And you have to force yourself to look back. You have to force yourself to reflect on all this life has given you. And it's not going to be easy. Dealing with suicidal ideation is not easy whatsoever. You know, you have your good days and you have your bad days, but it's about knowing how to navigate those days and learning about the tools and the resources that are available to you, so that you don't feel like you're alone in this journey, that you don't feel like you're alone in this battle, because you're not. Like, cannot emphasize that enough. You are your biggest critic. You are your biggest bully. You are not alone. So many people love you, and you make so many people's lives better. And I know it's so easy to sit here and listen to that and just tell yourself, well, that's not true. But you have to lie to yourself. You do. If you want to win this game of life where it's you against you, you really have to lie to yourself. That is the best advice I could probably give you, because that is the best advice I have received from people during this time who have really stepped up and shown me their love and support. And I also just want it to be known that my door is always open, regardless of who you are, whether I know you and we don't really talk, or whether we do talk on a frequent basis, or if you're just a stranger. Because again, I understand what it's like to have those days where you feel like the whole world is against you, like nobody is on your side. Please find comfort in knowing that I am here, and I am more than happy to spend hours trying to talk you out of not taking your life if it means that we get to enjoy your presence another day on this earth. And I honestly just appreciate, like I just feel like this weight has been lifted off of me, because I felt so guilty for like starting the podcast all up again and then just kind of falling off of the face of the earth. But you have to be selfish, and you really have to be selfish when it comes to taking care of yourself, because nobody else is going to take care of you. Nobody's going to come into your room and pull you out of bed when you have those depressive days. You have to love yourself enough to get up and keep trying and keep trying, even if you aren't seeing results. Eventually you will, but do not give up on hope. Thank you if you have made it this far. I hope that maybe some of you can find some comfort in my story of kind of what I've been going through for the last couple of months, especially this past month. And please know that your feelings are completely valid. You don't have to feel bad for being upset over things that society thinks you should be over, and things you probably should have dealt with by now. Everybody goes through life at their own pace, and don't ever feel guilty for feeling the way that you do. Please remember to take care of yourselves, to stay healthy, and to treat yourself with so much kindness. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope that moving forward I could be a little bit more consistent with the podcast and with producing these videos.